Alright boys, welcome back to episode number 2 of the auction Subaru. Today we're going to be pulling the engine out and we're going to be going through it. The head gasket is pretty bad. Whenever you start the vehicle up, there's an active leak going on right between the cylinder head and the engine block. So we're going to disassemble the engine, we're going to inspect the cylinder heads, we're going to do a budget machine job. I'll show you how. It's pretty budget. Get her close enough, put some good gaskets on it. That's it. So she's $1,000, so we're not sending it to the machine shop unless we absolutely have to, right? So I'll pull you in and show you my setup, and you don't really need a whole lot to accomplish a lot. And I hope this video will be kind of a testament to that. So let's get to work. So this is our super high-tech setup. I have myself an engine hoist. I actually had to rent this guy. It's about $5 a day, but you know, when I moved here, I didn't pack it like an idiot, and so we have to rent one. But this one's pretty nice, and I get to send it home after the fact, so it doesn't take up room in the garage. We're just going to be using this spare tire as a engine stand. You can buy yourself an engine stand, but they're like $150 new, and that was free. So this is going to be a very short-term project. I've had these engines apart, you know, a few times now. It doesn't take me very long anymore. So this spare tire will do nicely. If we're doing anything more to it, you know, an engine stand would be nice, but for now, free. So what I'll do is I'll set you up on the time lapse. It's pretty cold in here, you know. It's just pulling a Subaru engine. You can do it in like half hour. Pick you back up when the engine's out. We can go over it. Hey down. Yeah, so Subarus are pretty nice because the whole intake comes off and you bring all of the wiring harness with it. You got your big ass connector back here. Just disconnect all the sensors. Up and out. That's it. We didn't even get that much dirt down the intake. That's good. I mean, you don't really have to disconnect too much. I mean, power steering pump's right there, just in the airbox. Same thing with the AC. I don't know if it has AC or not, but you know, you just kind of give it a roll over. I mean, you don't gotta worry about that kink there. Heater core hoses, those are gonna come off, and then the bell housing bolts, exhaust, 3 bolts underneath, engine mounts, they're all the same size. So bust out your 14mm, and that's it. And then we're ready to pick this thing up and get her on out of there. All right, boys. So the engine is out of the car. We're gonna go ahead and start taking off the engine cover here. We're gonna set the engine in time, take off the timing belt, all that stuff. Then we're going to start peeling off the cylinder heads and just see how bad it is in there. Overall, not too bad of a job to do. She is absolutely filthy. There's that big ass oil leak on top. Every single spark plug tube had oil in it, so you know that's mint. Look at this right here. All that crusty. That's what you want to do when you see that. But we got ourselves a pretty empty engine bay now. Usually I like going through here and blasting all this stuff, but you know, can't really do that because it's the middle of winter. We're in the garage. No water out here anyways. I saw this. It's a hose clamp on the CV boot, so that's, you know, that's a good quality fix right there. It's not bad. It was making noise earlier. Have a look at the clutch. This is it on the tire, by the way. That's all you need. Kind of a pain in the ass, but you know, you're getting her done. So we'll do this side first because it's up. We'll have to pick that side up and kind of do one of those, right? The clutch isn't too bad. We're gonna, you know, pull it off and have a look. Change out the rear main seal. I have one of those in stock. We got all kinds of shit in here. All right, so we're gonna get the crank pulley off. We're gonna peel off the plastic timing cover, set it in time. So 22. Yeah, baby. Cool. And these just fall off. Not fall off, but they just pull off nicely. They pull off nicely. There you go. Set that down. Throw this guy back in. Good. Holy smokers. Front crank seal's leaking, so that could be bad. So down in here, you can see the oil coming out of the front crank seal there. That could be a bad thing. These oil pumps, they have like a backing plate on them that's held in with a bunch of Phillips screws. And over time, they will like back themselves out, and then you'll be bleeding off oil pressure. So that's not good to begin with, but what it likes to do is it likes to come out of the front crank seal here, and you lose all of your oil very, very quickly. I don't know if that's what happened here. You know, it's a known issue with these engines. But yeah, we'll get into that after we look at the cylinder heads, make sure that they're okay, and then we'll kind of go from there. But we gotta deal with that right there. So we'll set this thing in time. Okay, yeah, that's it right there. Nice and simple. You can't really get it wrong, unlike you know, a bunch of other cars. This one's gonna go thunk. It might or may not. That's okay. Some coolant there. That's coming from the gasket. Fuck, I hope this thing's okay. Only one way to find out is to keep going. That sounds like ass. That one's nice. What's this one sound? That one's nice. Okay. I wonder if they just swapped the belt out and kept all the fucking original pulleys. Fucking lazy ass motherfucker. What, over there? Oh, this thing really blew its head gasket. Holy, that busted ass tube seal there all squished in. All the muck just fell in there. Nice, nice. That's cool. We'll have to clean all that out. Whiz these bitches out. Look at that. Well, they're not being steam cleaned, so that's good. You know, a lot of carbon. A lot of carbon. Holy shit, look at that on there. Spark plug gap is monstrous. Especially on this cylinder right here. I'll pull you in for the close-up, but I have no idea how this car was running like that. That is absolutely redonkulous. Let's put that right there for now. Sludge in there. We're gonna have to do an engine flush for sure. Yeah, so down here, well, this is the oil return here. So this sits like that. So usually they leak out right here, and that's where, oh, it's missing there and there. This might have been trickling down into the oil return. It sure looks like it was with all the milkshake. Yeah, there's obviously nothing getting into the combustion chamber to wipe the snow off. If there was, these things would be spotless, but they're all carboned up. But it might have been, yeah, it was definitely making its way into the oil a little bit. So I mean, we gotta look at the oil pump anyways. So oil pan's coming off and all that shit. So we're gonna check out the bearings and things like that, make sure everything's okay. Man. Okay, boys, so we're getting ready to check the cylinder head for warpage. You got to make sure you clean off all the junk, you know, all the old gasket and a little bit of corrosion from the aluminum. You got to make sure that's all gone before you start measuring. Otherwise, you'll mess yourself up. So we're just going around here, cleaning everything up. Careful not to nick the cylinder head like I did just there. But, you know, that's whatever. We'll get it figured out. So when you're checking for warpage, you want to make sure you're using a feather gauge. The standard is 2000th feather gauge. You know, anything more than that, you really got to go to the machine shop to properly get fixed. And you got to make sure that your machinist ruler is very clean. You know, no debris, no junk, nothing like that on it. So anyways, you go at the cylinder head horizontally first. And I think this is where, yeah, this is where we got our 2 thou gap between the combustion chambers. That's pretty normal. So we'll continue going on. We're checking around. We're going to go at it diagonally. Again, checking for warpage, but I mean just the middle there, not a big deal. We'll get that fixed up with our budget machine job. I'm pretty happy about that there. You know, I don't have to send it out. And that's it. All right, we're getting ready to machine the cylinder head. We go machine. So it's very simple. We just got ourselves 800 grit sandpaper, adhesive glue, and a pane of tempered glass. This is pretty thick stuff. So it's very simple. The glass is flat. The sandpaper is sandpapering. And you just kind of give her one of those. And earlier we were out about 2,000. And even now you can kind of see how we got aluminum shavings here around the edges. We're peeling a little bit, but we got nothing in the middle. So we'll just keep going. And it's a very slow process, but you know, it's fairly inexpensive. Like working for Kraft Dinner, you know, it's pretty affordable. You have employees like that. Want to make sure we're getting touch contact in the middle here. That's where our gap is primarily, but we're taking quite a bit away from the edges here. It's nice and smooth, it's nice and clean, but as soon as we touch here, we're not going to go too much further just because it is kind of a pain in the ass to do this, and we're just going to get her close enough. All right, boys, so it's been a couple of days since I last filmed the clip. I don't really remember where I left off, but we're just going to get back into it. So I ended up pulling off the oil pump on the front here. I didn't film it because I was at like DEFCON 1. I had to figure it out. It was cold. I think it was like 5 degrees Fahrenheit in here at one point, so there wasn't a whole lot of good stuff going on. But I got the oil pump off, but 2 of the screws on the backside there had actually come loose, and I suspect that's where our front crank seal leak was coming from. Because when those things start to back out, the pressure has nowhere else to go, and it finds the weakest spot, and it just, you know, it comes out the front. So we got that all dialed in. So here's our budget machine job. Came out all right. I mean, there's a couple scratches here from moving around. That's not a big deal. Yeah, I went through here, tidied it all up. Took the cylinder, I took all this, the cams and all that stuff out, all the rocker arms, I laid that all on the side. Took this inside, threw it in the kitchen sink, I gave it a good scrub. Came back out here, oiled it back up, reassembled, not a big deal. Yeah, I mean, cylinder head, the other one's good to go. I already have the passenger side already dialed in. We're going to go over after the fact, you know, take this back off and adjust the valves. I'll show you how. But we got the one side done. Clean up all the pistons. Clean them up enough. Still working on the floor, and let me tell you, it kind of sucks. So I think maybe an engine stand might be pretty mint next time. But we got some more parts. We got some oil. So hopefully later on tonight, we'll be going back in the engine bay. That'd be pretty sick. And I can send this thing home, and yeah, the $5 a day really does add up, because it's been like 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So we got to get this engine back in there so we can send that engine hoist home, because it's very expensive now. So believe it or not, the Subaru head bolts are reusable. You know, you got to have your engine apart almost every single time you want to do anything to it. They're reusable. You know, some of you guys might lose your minds over that, but that's okay, because I'm going to reuse them, and you're going to see it's just going to be just fine. The only specialty kind of tool you need is this, I think it's a 14 millimeter 12 point. You can get away with, I think it was a 7/16 or something like that, but I mean, that's dumb. Just use the proper one. I just went to old Snap-on and got this guy here. It's my Subaru head bolt torquer socket only. Let's fire this pig on, and we'll throw on the timing belt and I can get her back in. There's a knife. There's a knife. The upgraded Felpro, so it's got the multi-steel layer gasket MLS. So you can't really mess it up. If you do mess it up, you put it on backwards, you're going to be shooting oil out all over the bloody place. But, you know, don't do that. I always laugh at myself because I go really hard on the cylinder heads, making them mint. And then here, the actual deck surface, it's kind of just like a half-ass scrape, and, you know, it'll be fine. We'll lube up the cylinders. You know, we're going to try and be nice to the engine. Yeah, it's been a while since it ran, so we don't want to score up the walls too much. I mean, this thing's pretty sacked out, but it makes me feel better about it. Looking good. We'll get our head and line up the dowels. Get on there. So just hold it there. Don't let it go. Grab a, yeah, that one used to be a black mark. You hold on there, little buddy. So there we go, that's better. Just kind of hold it up there. Oh, okay, there we go. I also put a little bit of oil on the bolts here and where the washer goes, both sides. Just makes it a bit nicer to torque down. Beautiful. All right, boys. So we're gonna get torquing this thing down. I just got a regular mechanical torque wrench. This is a 3/8 drive. I don't know if it's more precise or not, but I mean, it fits my socket, so that's why I use it. Anyways, so you start out, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You kind of just do that kind of outward spiral style of torquing. And Subaru says you're supposed to, you know, tighten them all down to like 30, back them off 90 or 180, whatever, and then you tighten them again. We're just going to go from pretty much 25 foot-pounds all the way up to 75 foot-pounds in that that kind of circular torquing sequence, and then we'll go through and tighten up the two middle ones to 85 foot-pounds. So I've done that to pretty much all of the. I think once I did the Subaru way, and I thought it was, yeah, it was silly doing it like that because then you got to remember all this shit. But yeah, just do that. You won't have any issues. 25 foot-pounds, 10 foot-pound increments all the way up to 75. The two middle ones get to 85. And that's it. Oh, all right, so we have to swap to a bigger torque wrench. 85. Double check. So that is the super basic way to tighten down the head bolts on your Ej253. We're getting ready to throw the timing back on. It's not too difficult of a job to do. You just gotta kind of know what you're doing. There's a couple tricks you can do, and I'll show you. You know, streamlines the process a little bit. So this guy goes on here. I usually always forget to put this thing on until after, but today we remembered. Line it up. Line this mark up. This guy's always a pain in the ass because it's loaded up on the spring right there. Tensioner, we gotta compress this guy back in there. So we got ourselves our pin and some big ass channel locks. You really do have to be on point when you're pressing this thing down. Oh shit, even using a vise is a fucking pain in the ass with this thing. Oh, back it up. Back it up, Terry. Let this thing heat up. Hopefully it'll make the fluid, you know, move around a lot nicer so we can actually use the channel locks. But I'll pick you back up when I get that thing squished back in. So I went ahead and got this tensioner squished back in. Just used the channel locks. The heat worked quite well. And, but I had to do it right on the floor, put all my weight on it. Alright, so the guy in the video here, he decided to have the heater going, the radio, and it, you know, this is a pretty important part. So what you want to do is get around the crank first, and then go to the cam gear. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Make sure your tensioner is pushed back in, line everything up. So you get the crank's good, that cam's good, lined up. That cam's good. So a lot of guys, they struggle with that bottom orange pulley there. They kind of have it half-ass on. I don't like doing that, but I like doing it this way. So you put it on backwards, like you turn the engine backwards, you have it kind of, you put it on like a bike chain, essentially. But you know, just kind of help it along, give it a couple tap, there you go, give her a tap. Once you do that, you know, rotate her back up clockwise. Make sure your timing marks are where you left them. I mean, get her precise, you know. That looks good to me, that looks good. So after that, you want to rotate the engine 2 times, double check your marks. If everything's good, then pull the pin out. So now we're doing the valve adjustment. It makes sense, you know, the engine's out, we're right here. So that's an 8 thou feeler gauge. You couldn't see it, but that's 8 thou, and it's right in the middle of the spec range. I always like going in the middle. When you're adjusting the valves, you're using, you know, a 10 mil wrench and a nice screwdriver, and you don't want to put any sort of downward pressure on the screwdriver when you're moving around your feeler gauge. Otherwise, you'll throw off your reading. So, you know, double check everything, make sure it's good. You see how to move that one again. That feels good. Moving on to the exhaust, we're using a 10 thou feeler gauge. Again, it's right in the middle of the spec range. There's nothing to it, just give them a quick check. That one was totally cool, so we're good to go. Alright boys, so we're going to get in here and we're going to change out the rear main seal. I had one of these in stock. So this one here looks like it was leaking quite a bit. All the, you can see all the dust from the clutch. It's very thick and kind of gummy. Beautiful. So you got to make sure you take note how far down the seal is. You kind of want to, when you put the new one in there, you kind of want to put it back to where you found it. We're just a tiny bit below the little chamfer there. So even if we went back a little bit further with the seal, you'll change where it rides. That's a Velcro rear main, so that they may change the location of where the seal rides on the crank. I don't know. But over time, the rubber will wear into the crank. It's weird. I don't know how it does it, but it just does. And you can sometimes just have a leak even with, you know, changing out the seal here. So we might set it back just a tiny bit further to change where the seal rides on the crank. That way we'll know for sure we're not going to have any oil leaks back there. At least until, you know, the PCV valve clogs up and, you know, out pops the oil again. Or out pops the leak again. So just getting here nice and gently with a screwdriver. There you go. Beauty. Crankshaft is looking pretty mint. Didn't even scuff it that much. Make sure you use a dirty rag. So we'll grab our other seal. Oh. Such a loser. So we'll grab our seal and we'll put a little bit of grease in the groove here where the spring is, and this will just make sure when we're hitting it in there, it doesn't come flying out or go where it's not supposed to go. I've never had it happen, but that's because I do this every single time. Yes, it'll also keep it from going dry on the first startup. Eyeball it. Use your fingers. Use all your senses, man. So we're just a tiny bit below where we initially started, or the wherever the old one. Where the fuck the old one go? So that old one, we're a little bit lower than where that old one was at, and that's kind of what we were going for, just so we have a new spot on the crank for the new seal to ride on, right? So the crank didn't look half bad, but we'll just set it in that little extra half little tap there, and again, just feel around, kind of make sure it's all even with your thumb. You know, give it one of those, right? So we'll fire the clutch on and kind of go from there. It's been pretty cold out recently, so I went ahead and put the engine back in the car, bolted up the exhaust. Not really a whole lot to see. I flushed out the engine with some transmission fluid, just trying to get all the the junk out of it. So I'll set you up on the time lapse. We'll get all of this stuff back together. I got some spark plugs and stuff to do, you know, and PCV valve, and we got to fix this hose that broke off. We'll get to work. All right, boys, so just like that, engine's back together. We just got to put some fluids in it. We're going to do that right now. I was going to do a slow-mo of this, but I think the oil's flowing slow enough already. Oh, fuck yeah, boys. Look at that. All right, boys, so I had to leave the night we were going to start it. I had to go do some, I got a phone call, and I had to go help my buddy out. So we're back. It's a new day. Garage door is open. It's beautiful outside. So I know I said this was a short-term project, but you can see by my facial hair how much it's grown over the course of the video. This has not been a short-term project by any means. So we're getting ready to start this car up. We're gonna prime the oil first. You know, put it in flood mode, and get some oil circulating around. We had everything apart, so we got to get oil up to the top end. or side in, I guess, where the cylinder heads are. Yeah, we'll get her started. All right, boys, so that should be plenty good. We went ahead and cranked on it for a good 5-10 seconds in clear flood mode just to get some oil up to the top end. So let's give her a fire up. All right, so we'll just let that cooling system bleed out. Got the spill-proof funnel giving her all the way there. Just gotta wait for the temperature to rise. So always want to maximum heat. Get her going. So we'll aim it at the top vents here. Just give her all the way. So it's pretty cool. She started up no problem. We a little bit of smoke, but that's okay. That's from the oil in the cylinders when we lubed it all up. So I'm not too concerned about that unless, you know, it persists, then, you know, maybe we did something wrong. I doubt it. Okay, so that's it for this video. I know it was, you know, a bit of a longer one this time around. We checked off one big check mark for sure. Got the engine back, got it out, fixed up, back in. She's running now. So we gotta put some gas in it. We gotta check engine lights, but we'll figure that out. I'm pretty sure it's evap code for sure. Usually always is. So yeah, I look forward to continuing on with this project. She's alright, you know. Do a little detail, do some brakes, do a brake upgrade. So click subscribe, follow for more. It really helps me get, you know, motivation to continue coming out here and having the camera in the way. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. I hope you have a good day.